just close this.
Just
How's
close the
that?
door.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Merle.
Yep.
He's a full service agency. Look at
It
that.
is.
Okay. So,
Whenever you guys are ready, you can
okay.
go.
Jiggy Jag TV at the fabulous Red Shed, or as it's been commonly referred to recently as the infamous Red Shed. I am Jigman Freud, and we are out here for Hurricane Ruth. And Hurricane Ruth is with us. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. Good to talk to you again.
You know, when I first walked in and I saw you, I'm like, you've got to be the tour manager. You can't be Hurricane Ruth. All that voice can't be coming out of this tiny exterior.
Well, yeah, I do wear all kinds of hats when you're out here on the road. You know, you're a van driver, you're, tour manager, you're a cat herder. You get to do all kinds of stuff like that. So yeah.
That's awesome. So, how did you get started doing this whole music thing?
It was really in my DNA. My dad was a drummer. My mom and dad owned a tavern. It's just in my DNA. So that's really, I grew up listening to music. I grew up, performing music. It's just been around me my whole life and in my bloodstream, and can't seem to shake it.
So, how did you get the name Hurricane Ruth?
I was jamming. I was a college student. I was jamming around Springfield, Illinois, and I had a friend of mine that said, that little bitty person, is belting out with the big voice. You should call yourself Hurricane Ruth. I was pretty reluctant at the time. I was, extremely shy, and I'm like, nah, I don't think I really want to do that, whatever. But I did, and the great Willie Dixon, I was support for him. And one night we were backstage talking, and he said that the name sure did fit me, and to never lose the name, it served me well. So if it's good enough for Willie Dixon, it sure is hell good enough for me.
So, you are tiny in person. How in the world do you have this presence, like on your CDs and?
I guess I'm just blessed. I don't know, or blessed or cursed, or maybe it's from yelling at my little brother so much when I was little. I'm classically trained.
That's awesome.
So I know Pat Benatar isn't the blues, but Pat Benatar is little, and she's classically trained. So a lot of it is, taking care of your body, because your body is your instrument.
Yeah.
Some days I do better than other days, but I work out a lot. I work at my craft, and I try to get better. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So tell me about your latest music collection that you have available.
My latest album was released March 18th of 2022. It's called Hurricane Ruth Live at 3rd and Lindsley, which for many people, if they don't know what 3rd and Lindsley is, it's an iconic music venue in Nashville, Tennessee. It's been around for years. There have been a lot of wonderful, great artists that have walked through those doors and performed on that stage. And it was on my bucket list to do a live album, and I wanted to do an old school sounding live album. Not like a live album where you come in and they shoot like 3 or 4 nights, and then they take the best picks from whatever 3 or 4 nights that they've got. My live album is literally harkens back to the days of Humble Pie, live at Fillmore East, the Allman Brothers live at Fillmore East, although I believe that was done over 2 nights, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, live at 3rd and Lindsley is the show.
That's awesome.
There are no edits, there are no overdubs, there are no auto-tune. It's just very raw, it's very real, and if you were at that show, that's what you heard.
That's
so
awesome. That's fantastic.
That's what the live album is.
So tell me about your band, because you have quite the collection of players.
Well, I have a lot of people that I've toured with. The ones that are out on the road with me right now, that the people are going to see here at the Red Shed. I have Brennan Shedler on drums. He's a 23-year-old just a killer drummer. He has toured with the great Eddie Turner out of Denver, Colorado. On bass guitar, I have Calvin Johnson out of Nashville, Tennessee. Calvin's been on the road with me for many years. He's a tremendous bass player, and he has been on my last 2 albums. And this tour, I'm very fortunate to have the great Scott Holt on tour with me. Scott performed with Buddy Guy for over a decade, and right now he is on leave from the should be in the Hall of Fame classic rock band Foghat, because they're off tour right now because Roger Earl, their iconic drummer, had to have shoulder surgery, but they're due to go back out on tour. So Scott was off for about a month, and I called him up and he said, yeah, I can come out and do this with you, as long as I'm back for next week, because we're getting ready to rehearse again so we can go back out on tour. So
that's awesome.
I have to do a shout out to all of the great folks at Foghat for letting Scott come out and tour with me.
That's awesome. So before we let you go, how do we find your stuff online and buy your music and everything?
Sure, you can hit me up at hurricaneruth.com. That's my website. You can listen to my music there. You can also find me on iTunes, Spotify, but the best way to connect with me is come to live shows. Live music's where it's at.
That's awesome.
And as they say here, live music is my thing. I think that's what the Red Shed has on the back of, or our thing, or something like that. So.
By the way, the one thing I didn't get a chance to ask you, which I ask everybody, and if I don't do this, I will get beat up by my camera person. What the hell did you think when you pulled in here at the Red Shed? What did you think about the whole deal?
I thought I was coming back home to visit, where my mom and dad live. They live on where my mom and dad live. They both have passed on, but my brother lives there now. You take the hard road to the gravel road to the dirt road, and that's where they live. So I felt like I was going home, really.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
You are amazing.
Appreciate you.
And thanks for watching Jiggy Jag TV.